guys, what's going on? It's MJ Q&A and I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Awesome question, man. Particularly awesome question because it's come from the other side of the world from a big fan of ours. It's David Anthony from Minneapolis in the USA, man. David wants to know, is it necessary to train to failure all the time, man? David, it's a fantastic question because a lot of people, man, when it comes to training, they don't know how hard they should push. They don't know when they should push to a certain degree of difficulty. They don't know whether they should go to failure, go past failure, use drop sets and supersets and all kinds of intensifying techniques to help them make gains, man. So David, let me answer your question, man. There's a few ways to answer this question, and look, whether or not you always train to failure really depends on what your goal is. So I'm gonna say my initial answer to your question is it necessary to always train to failure? My initial answer to that question, man, is no. It's not necessary to always train to failure. But, and let me preface this with a big but, man. It depends, firstly, on what your goal is, and secondly, what phase of training you're in, man. So myself, I'm gonna use myself as an example, man, because I use a bunch of different training techniques throughout the year to help me reach my goals, which is to build muscle, stay relatively lean, and continue to work on the weaknesses in my physique, man. So what I tend to do, David, is I will go through like a hypertrophy phase of training, and I may do that for like 8 weeks, right? I spend most of my time in hypertrophy, and when I'm doing hypertrophy, I'm going to failure every single workout, man. Every single set I do, apart from my warm-up sets, is at least 2 failure and usually past failure as well. The reason why I do that, David, is because when you're trying to build muscle tissue and you're in that hypertrophy training phase, man, if you're not going past failure, if you're not pushing your muscles past what they're used to doing, they're not going to adapt, they're not going to grow. So during the hypertrophy phase, man, absolutely, in my personal opinion, and this is my personal opinion, so if all you fucking trolls want to troll me, here you go, drop it. Sorry, Dave. Sometimes I get a little bit distracted by the trolls. My personal opinion, man, when you're in the hypertrophy phase of training, make sure you're going to failure and past failure when possible. Then what I'll do, man, is I'll go do some strength training. So I'll do a strength block for like 2 to 4 weeks, man. And when I'm doing that, it's like powerlifting training. So you never go to failure and you never go past failure. It's just moving as much weight as you can, but it's a different style of training, man. Then what I'll do after that is I'll probably go back to hypertrophy, back to failure and past failure, and then I might go do some volume training, man, for like 4 to 6 weeks where I do volume training where it's a lot more sets, a lot more reps, and when I'm doing my volume training, man, I don't get anywhere near failure. It's just about getting as much blood in the muscle, really just mixing training up, keeping the body guessing, but you don't go anywhere near failure when you're doing your volume training, man. So Dave, look, you did write in your message, man, you wrote that you're trying to build strength and muscle. And with that in mind, with that goal in mind, then it depends on what phase you're in, man. So when you're in hypertrophy, I recommend going to failure, going past failure. When you're in strength, it's not necessary. When you're in volume, it's not necessary. And then to flip the switch, man, if your goal was different, if you didn't want to build muscle, if you had a different goal, like a strength-based goal or an endurance-based goal, man, you may not even need to go to failure at all. Depends on your goal. David, I hope that answers your question, man, and I hope that you didn't mind me get a little bit passionate halfway through for the trolls, man. Guys, if you've got a question that you want us to answer in MJ Q&A, doesn't matter where you are in the world, man. David lives in Minneapolis, other side of the world. I don't care if you're from Europe, the US, Asia, it doesn't bother me, man. Drop us an email at qa@massivejoes.com, drop us a message on our Facebook page, hit the subscribe button. Stay up to date with MJ Q&A, man. Everything else we're doing on YouTube. And guys, that is MJ Q&A, and I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com.